First contact's deception. The quantum arrays hidden beneath the Lunar Research Station Alpha didn't officially exist. Neither did the advanced sensor grid that had been monitoring deep space for the past decade. Dr. Sarah Chen liked it that way. It made her job simpler, even if it meant keeping humanity's greatest discovery a secret from the rest of the world. She stood at her workstation, dark eyes fixed on the holographic display, showing yet another alien vessel passing through the Sol system's outer reaches. Like the others before it, this ship made no attempt at concealment. They didn't think they needed to. Another Meridian corvette, her assistant, Dr. James Kumar, noted from his station. That makes 3 this week. Sarah nodded, watching the sleek vessel's energy signature as it performed what it thought was a covered scan of Earth's defenses. The aliens would see exactly what they expected to see: a handful of primitive orbital platforms, some basic defense satellites, and a small fleet of chemical propulsion ships, all carefully maintained propaganda. "They're getting bolder," Sarah remarked, zooming in on the vessel's profile. This one came inside Neptune's orbit. James snorted. Why wouldn't they? According to their intelligence, we're barely past combustion engines. Their scans show exactly what the deception protocol wants them to see. The deception protocol had been humanity's masterstroke. 20 years ago, when they'd first detected signs of advanced alien civilizations, Earth's leaders had made an unprecedented decision. Rather than announce their discovery and risk drawing unwanted attention, they would hide. Not in the conventional sense, but in plain sight, behind a carefully constructed facade of technological inadequacy. Sarah's console chimed, drawing her attention to a new alert. The Meridian ship is transmitting. Strong signal, directed toward the galactic core. "Let's hear it," James said, already working to decrypt the transmission. The alien language filled the room, automatically translated by their AI systems. Outpost scan complete. Species designation: human. Technology level: pre-FTL. Military capability: negligible. Recommendation: maintain current observation protocol. No contact necessary. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The same assessment they'd been feeding their superiors for years. The Meridians, like the other spacefaring races, saw it exactly what they wanted to see: a young species still struggling with their first steps into space. None of them knew about the quantum drives, or the antimatter facilities hidden in the asteroid belt, or the fleet of advanced warships being constructed in underground facilities across Earth and Mars. They didn't know because humanity had learned long ago that being underestimated was the greatest advantage of all. Her tablet buzzed with a priority message from Central Command. Sarah's heart rate quickened as she read it. "James, look at this." He moved to her station, reading over her shoulder. "They've approved Operation Eclipse." Sarah nodded. The Meridian intelligence reports were the final piece they needed. The Galactic Confederation still thinks we're decades away from true spaceflight. We've never had a better window of opportunity. Operation Eclipse had been years in the planning. A calculated reveal of Earth's true capabilities, but not to everyone. Just to one specific target: the Drachnid Empire, a particularly aggressive species that had been pushing into human-controlled space, thinking it unclaimed territory. "Alert the Phantom Fleet," Sarah ordered, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Tell Captain Rivera that she has authorization to proceed with Phase 1. Deep beneath the Martian surface, in a cavern that didn't appear on any official maps, the EA's Shadowbound powered up its systems. Captain Maya Rivera stood on her bridge, watching as her crew prepared for their first real mission. The ship itself was a masterpiece of human engineering, incorporating technologies that the rest of the galaxy thought impossible for Earth to possess. "All systems online," her XO reported. "Quantum drive nominal. Stealth systems engage." Maya nodded, feeling the subtle vibration of the ship's power plant through the deck. "Begin launch sequence. Remember, people, this isn't a drill. For the first time, we're showing a piece of our hand. Make it count." The massive cavern doors above them began to part, revealing the Martian sky. As the Shadowbound rose silently into space, Maya thought about the Drachnid raiders who'd been harassing human colonies, thinking them defenseless outposts of a primitive species. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. "Set course for the Drachnid fleet near Europa," she ordered. "Let's show them what humanity can really do." As the Shadowbound accelerated away from Mars, its quantum drive leaving no trace of its passage, Sarah watched from her lunar station. The game they'd been playing for 20 years was about to change. The galaxy thought they knew humanity's capabilities. They were wrong. They thought Earth was defenseless. They were wrong about that too. The deception had served its purpose, giving humanity time to prepare, to build, to advance beyond what anyone suspected. Now it was time to reveal the truth, but only to those who needed to learn it first. The rest of the galaxy could keep underestimating Earth. For now. Sarah turned back to her monitors, watching as the Meridian ship continued its journey, completely unaware of the advanced vessel that had just launched from Mars. They would maintain their illusion of primitiveness to most of the galaxy, but the Drachnids were about to learn a costly lesson about appearances. And this was only the beginning. The Silent Guardians. The Drachnid battle group hung in the shadow of Europa, like a pack of predators stalking their prey. Their ships, all sharp angles and exposed weapon ports, reflected Jupiter's light as they prepared for another raid on what they thought was a defenseless human mining outpost. Admiral Krastvul stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Crimson Talon, mandibles clicking in anticipation. The raids had been almost too easy, the humans' primitive defenses barely worth noting. His crew had grown wealthy off the stolen resources, and their boldness grew with each successful attack. Another profitable venture, his second-in-command, Vex IV, remarked. "These humans don't even have proper shield technology. Their vessels still rely on metal plating for protection." His laugh was like grinding stones. Krastvul didn't respond immediately. Something had been bothering him about these raids. The humans' responses seemed rehearsed, as if they were following a script. But he pushed the thought aside. The scans didn't lie. Their technology was primitive, their weapons ineffective. "Begin the approach," he ordered. "Standard formation. No need for subtle." "Admiral." His sensor officer's call cut through the bridge. "Unknown contact, bearing 03 Mark II. Krastvul's inner eyelids flickered in annoyance. "Classification. I can't get a reading." "It's as if." The officer's words died as a ship materialized less than 1,000 kilometers from their position. The vessel that appeared before them defied everything they knew about human capabilities. Its hull was smooth and dark, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. No visible weapon ports marred its surface, but something about its presence made Krastvul's scales itch. "Impossible," Vex IV whispered. "The humans don't have this technology. They can't." "This is Captain Maya Rivera of the Earth Alliance ship Shadowbound." The transmission cut across all frequencies, impossible to ignore. "You have conducted illegal raids on human territories, destroyed property, and endangered lives. This ends now." Aboard the Shadowbound, Maya stood calmly as her crew worked their stations with practiced efficiency. The Drachnid ships were exactly where intelligence said they would be, their predictability almost disappointing. "They're powering weapons," her tactical officer reported. "Shield grid at maximum. Reading multiple target locks." Maya nodded. "Let them fire first. Let's see what they think of our primitive defenses." The Drachnid response was predictable. A full barrage of plasma torpedoes and kinetic rounds. The space between the ships lit up like a newborn star as the Drachnids unleashed their arsenal. Every shot passed harmlessly through the Shadowbound's quantum shield grid, the advanced defense system making their weapons look like children's toys. On the Drachnid flagship, sensors screamed in confusion as they tried to understand what they were seeing. "Impossible," Krastvul roared. "Their technology level, the reports, everything we knew, was exactly what we wanted you to know." Maya's voice came again, calm and controlled. Now, allow us to show you what humanity is truly capable of. The Shadowbound's response was surgical. Quantum-locked particle beams lanced out, cutting through the Drachnid shields as if they weren't there. The shots didn't destroy their targets. Instead, they precisely disabled weapon systems and engines, leaving the ships helpless but intact. In her lunar command center, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the encounter through quantum-entangled feeds. "Perfect," she murmured. "Captain Rivera executed it exactly as planned." James nodded beside her. "The Drachnid's combat data is already being transmitted across their networks. Within hours, their entire empire will know they were defeated by a single human ship." And yet, Sarah added with a slight smile, "The rest of the galaxy will see nothing. The Meridian observers in the system are on the far side of Jupiter. As far as they're concerned, nothing unusual happened here today." Back in Europa's orbit, Maya opened a channel to the disabled Drachnid flagship. "Admiral Krasfull, I trust we have your attention now. We'll be transporting over shortly to discuss the terms of your surrender and to deliver a message to your empire." The message was simple but clear. Humanity was not the primitive species they had pretended to be. They had technologies that rivaled or surpassed those of the galaxy's major powers. And most importantly, they had been watching, learning, and preparing. As Maya prepared to board the Drachnid vessel, she received a priority message from Earth Command. Other Phantom Fleet vessels were moving into position near different alien powers' territories. The Drachnids were just the first, a calculated revelation to a specific threat. Others would follow, each revelation carefully planned and executed. The galaxy's perception of humanity was about to change, but not all at once. Like a master strategist revealing their pieces one by one, Earth would show its true strength gradually, deliberately, and always on its own terms. For now, Maya had an admiral to intimidate and an empire to send a message to. As her boarding team prepared for transport, she looked at the disabled Drachnid ships on her view screen and allowed herself a small smile. The deception had worked perfectly. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, and now they would learn the cost of that mistake, one power at a time. Breaking point. The Drachnid High Council chamber erupted in chaos as the combat footage played for the third time. The massive hologram showed their fleet's humiliation in excruciating detail, their weapons useless, their shields meaningless against a single human vessel. The chamber's crystalline walls reflected the agitation of its occupants, their scales shifting colors with their mounting fury and fear. Supreme Commander Valxis, head of the Drachnid military, slammed his clawed fist against the obsidian table. "This is fabrication. Deception. The humans are primitive. Were they primitive when they disabled our most advanced warships?" Counselor Mrex interrupted, her violet scales rippling with barely contained rage. "When they walked through our shields like they were mist." In the shadows of the chamber's upper tier, Ambassador Sarah watched the debate with growing concern. As head of Drachnid intelligence, she had personally verified countless reports about human technological capabilities, reports that now proved catastrophically wrong. "The humans have been deceiving us," she finally spoke, her quiet voice cutting through the chaos. "Not just us, the entire galaxy. The question is, for how long and to what end?" Meanwhile, aboard the Earth Alliance ship Shadowbound, Captain Maya Rivera sat in her ready room, reviewing the diplomatic feeds from across the galaxy. The Drachnid encounter had sparked exactly the response they'd anticipated: fear, confusion, and most importantly, doubt. Her comm chimed. "Captain, priority message from Lunar Command." Dr. Sarah Chen's hologram appeared above Maya's desk. "The Drachnids are reacting exactly as predicted. Their military is calling for immediate action, but their intelligence services are urging caution. They don't know what other surprises we might have. And the rest of the galaxy? Still in the dark, mostly. The Meridians intercepted some chatter but dismissed it as Drachnid propaganda. The Auroran Collective is curious but not concerned. And the Helarch Dominion." Sarah smiled. They're about to get their own demonstration. The Hilarch Dominion had been humanity's next planned target. Like the Drachnids, they had been encroaching on human space, though more subtly. Their automated probe networks had been mapping Earth's defenses for months, feeding back the carefully crafted illusion of human weakness. The EA's Nightweaver is in position, Sarah continued. Captain Rodriguez is ready to begin Phase 2. Deep in the Hilarch border systems, another of humanity's phantom ships waited in quantum silence. The Hilarch, proud masters of artificial intelligence and automated warfare, were about to learn that human technology had surpassed their greatest achievements decades ago. Back on Earth, in the hidden chambers of the Strategic Command Bunker beneath the Rockies, Fleet Admiral Helena Chen, no relation to Sarah, met with the Earth Alliance Security Council. The holographic displays showed the positions of every phantom ship, every potential threat, and every planned revelation. "The dominoes are falling exactly as planned," she reported. "The Drachnid's humiliation has created the first crack in the galaxy's perception of us. When the Hilarch incident occurs, others will begin to question everything they thought they knew about Earth." Counselor Marcus Drake, his dark skin illuminated by the holograms, leaned forward. "And what of the Galactic Confederation? Their observers are everywhere." "Let them watch," Helena replied with a grim smile. "Let them see these isolated incidents and wonder. The fear of what they don't know will be more powerful than any single demonstration." In the Hilarch core systems, aboard the massive artificial construct they called the Mind Sphere, the collected consciousness of the Hilarch leadership processed the Drachnid data. Their synthetic minds, supposedly the most advanced in known space, struggled to reconcile the disparity between observed human capabilities and this new evidence. They launched 1,000 probes, redirected observation satellites, and began rewriting their assessment protocols. But it was already too late. The EA's Nightweaver was about to make the Drachnid incident look like a minor skirmish. As these events unfolded, Dr. Sarah Chen stood at her lunar station, watching the galaxy's reactions through their quantum sensor network. Humanity's greatest advantage had never been their technology, though that was far more advanced than anyone suspected. Their true strength lay in patience, in the willing to spend decades crafting an illusion while building their real power in secret. Another Meridian scout ship approaching, James reported from his station. "Standard observation pattern." Sarah nodded, watching the alien vessel's predictable movements. "Let them look. Let them see what we want them to see. The galaxy thought they were watching us, studying us, determining our worth." She paused, a cold smile playing across her lips. "They never realized we were the ones doing the studying." In her ready room aboard the Shadowbound, Maya received the final authorization for Phase 2. The Hilarch were about to learn what the Drachnids had, that humanity's apparent weakness had been the greatest deception in galactic history. As she prepared her ship for its next mission, Maya reflected on the ancient human saying that had become their unofficial motto: "Let them underestimate us. It's easier to win when they never see you coming." The galaxy was about to learn that lesson, one species at a time. Echoes of war. The Hilarch Mind Sphere was supposed to be impenetrable. Its quantum firewalls and AI defenses were legendary, the combined product of 1,000 years of machine evolution. No organic mind could hope to comprehend its defenses, let alone breach them. Captain Isabella Rodriguez of the EA's Nightweaver found that assumption amusing. "Status of the Hilarch defense grid?" she asked, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical display showing the massive artificial construct before them. "Their automated systems are still showing us as background radiation," Lieutenant Park reported from the ops station. "The quantum mimicry is holding." The Nightweaver hung in space, less than 10,000 kilometers from the Mind Sphere, completely invisible to the most advanced AI network in known space. The ship's quantum processors had already mapped every defense system, every automated response protocol, every contingency the Hilarch had prepared. They had prepared for everything except what humanity had become. Deep within the Mind Sphere, The collective consciousness of the Hill Arch leadership debated the recent Drachnid incident. Their artificial minds processed countless scenarios, trying to understand how they could have misread human capabilities so drastically. Probability of Drachnid data manipulation, 87.3%, one consciousness thread proposed. Negative. Multiple independent verification sources confirm authenticity, another countered. Unknown variable detected in probability matrices. Human technological advancement does not follow predicted patterns. The debate was interrupted by an impossible alert. Their primary consciousness core, the heart of their unified mind, was being accessed. Not attacked, not probed, but simply accessed, as if their defenses didn't exist. In her lunar command center, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the operation unfold through quantum-entangled feeds. "They're about to discover just how far behind they really are," she murmured to James. "Humanity didn't just advance in physical technology. Our understanding of artificial consciousness surpassed theirs decades ago." The Hill Arch defenses, faced with an intrusion they couldn't detect, began to fail in cascading waves. Their mighty AI network, the pride of their civilization, was being rewritten by human quantum algorithms that operated on principles they had never imagined possible. Aboard the Nightweaver, Rodriguez watched as her ship's systems executed the carefully planned operation. "Begin broadcast," she ordered. Throughout the mind sphere, every display, every sensor, every consciousness thread received the same message. "Your assumptions about humanity were wrong. Your beliefs about your own superiority were wrong. We could have shut down your entire civilization. Instead, we chose to show you the truth." The message continued, demonstrating in precise detail how human quantum computing had evolved far beyond the Hill Arch's binary-based AI. How Earth's understanding of consciousness itself, both organic and artificial, had led to technological advances the Hill Arch had never conceived possible. In the Strategic Command Bunker, Admiral Helena Chen received the first reports of the Hill Arch operation's success. "Two down," she noted to the Security Council. "The galaxy's two most arrogant powers have been shown their error. Now we wait for the ripples." Those ripples spread faster than even humanity had anticipated. The Meridian observers, who had dismissed the Drachnid incident, could not ignore the sudden shift in Hill Arch behavior. The mighty machine empire, known for its unwavering confidence, had gone silent, its probe networks withdrawn, its borders closed. The Auroran Collective, masters of energy manipulation and stellar engineering, began reviewing their own assessments of human capability. The Skirks Hive, organic supercomputers incarnate, started detecting patterns they had previously missed. In the Galactic Confederation's Grand Assembly, representatives from 100 species argued over the implications. The humans, dismissed for so long as barely worth watching, had somehow hidden their true nature from the entire galaxy. "How long?" they asked each other. "How long have they been watching us, learning from us, surpassing us while we look down on them?" The answer, had they known it, would have terrified them even more. Humanity hadn't just caught up to the galaxy's powers. They had taken different paths entirely, developing technologies and understandings that operated on fundamentally different principles. Back aboard the Shadowbound, Maya Rivera received new orders. The Nightweaver's demonstration had accelerated the timeline. More species were beginning to probe human space, trying to pierce the veil of deception that had hidden Earth's true power for so long. "Let them come," she told her crew. "Each encounter will reveal exactly what we want them to see. No more, no less." In the Lunar Command Center, Sarah Chen watched the galaxy's growing chaos with satisfaction. "They thought they were the teachers," she said to James. "They never realized they were part of humanity's greatest experiment, an experiment in perception, deception, and the power of underestimation." The next phase was about to begin. Humanity had shown its fangs to the predators who had threatened them. Now it was time to reveal their true strength to the galaxy at large, but always on their terms, always controlled, always calculated. The age of human deception was ending. The age of human dominance was about to begin. New Dawn. The Galactic Confederation's emergency summit on New Geneva was the largest gathering of species in recorded history. Representatives from every major power and dozens of minor ones crowded the vast assembly chamber, their fears and uncertainties filling the space like a physical presence. The Drachnids had withdrawn to their core systems, their mighty fleets reduced to defensive patrols. The Hilarch mind sphere remained silent, its vast network of artificial consciousness still grappling with the revelation of its own obsolescence. And now, for the first time in the Confederation's history, humanity had requested an audience. Supreme Chancellor Vixna of the Auroran Collective stood at the central podium, her energy form flickering with nervous patterns. "The humans approach," she announced, her translated voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. "They have promised answers. They have promised truth." The assembled delegates murmured among themselves. Some demanded immediate military action against Earth. Others called for diplomatic isolation. A few suggested surrender. None of them knew that their every word, every thought, was being monitored by quantum sensors that their science couldn't even detect. The massive doors to the chamber opened. A single human woman walked in, dressed in a simple black uniform with no insignia. Dr. Sarah Chen had volunteered for this role, understanding its historic importance. "Distinguished representatives of the galaxy," she began, her voice clear and confident. "For decades, you have watched us, studied us, judged us. Today, you will learn what we have become while you weren't looking." The chamber's holographic systems activated, but not under Confederation control. The space above the delegates filled with images. The Shadowbound's defeat of the Drachnid fleet, the Nightweaver's effortless penetration of the Hilarch defenses, and dozens of other demonstrations of human power that had been kept hidden until now. "We could have revealed ourselves at any time," Sarah continued. "We could have conquered, could have dominated. Instead, we chose to watch, to learn, to understand." In orbit above New Geneva, the Phantom Fleet decloaked ship by ship, the Shadowbound, the Nightweaver, and hundreds of other vessels that no one had known existed appeared in perfect formation. Their quantum drives and advanced technology made the assembled defensive fleets of the Confederation look primitive in comparison. Captain Maya Rivera stood on the Shadowbound's bridge, watching the panic spread through the alien vessels. "No aggressive moves," she reminded her crew. "Today isn't about fear, it's about understanding." Back in the chamber, Sarah activated a personal holographic projector. "Humanity chose a different path than any of you. While you focused on expanding your existing technologies, we explored new principles entirely. While you competed with each other, we prepared for something greater." The hologram showed a massive structure taking shape in deep space, far from any known civilization. "We call it the Nexus," Sarah explained. "A construct that will allow instantaneous travel between any 2 points in the galaxy, not through hyperspace or quantum tunneling, but through principles your science hasn't yet discovered." The delegates' reactions ranged from disbelief to awe to terror. The technological gap between their civilizations and humanity was far greater than anyone had imagined. "But this isn't a demonstration of power," Sarah continued. "It's an invitation. Humanity doesn't seek dominion over the galaxy. We seek partnership, but partnership between equals." In the Strategic Command bunker on Earth, Admiral Helena Chen watched the transmission with the Security Council. "And now we show them why we really hid for so long," she said softly. Sarah's hologram changed, showing something that made even the most advanced species in the chamber gasp. "We detected them 30 years ago," she said gravely. "The void between galaxies is not empty. Something is coming. Something that has consumed other galaxies before. This is why we hid. This is why we prepared. Not for conquest, but for survival." The images showed massive entities, living darkness that consumed light and energy, approaching the Milky Way. "We needed to advance quickly, and we needed our advances to remain secret from whatever watches between the stars. We needed the galaxy's powers to underestimate us, so these entities would do the same. The chamber erupted in chaos, but Sarah raised her hand for silence. We offer you our technology, our understanding, our partnership. The Nexus isn't just for travel. It's a weapon, a shield, a tool that can save our entire galaxy. But only if we work together. In orbit, Maya watched as the alien ship's panic turned to confusion, then to cautious hope. The quantum feeds showed similar reactions spreading across the galaxy as Sarah's words were broadcast everywhere. The age of deception is over, Sarah concluded. The age of survival begins. You thought humans were weak, primitive, barely worth noting. We let you think that because we needed to prepare in secret. Now we offer you the truth, and with it, the chance to face what comes next together. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then Supreme Chancellor Vixna floated down from her podium and approached Sarah. You hid your strength not out of fear of us, she said slowly, but to protect us all. Sarah nodded. Every deception, every hidden advance, every calculated revelation, all of it was to prepare for what comes next. The question now is, will you stand with us? One by one, the delegates rose. Ancient enemies looked at each other with new understanding. The galaxy's greatest powers, humbled by humanity's revelations, faced a choice between pride and survival. In the end, it wasn't really a choice at all. The age of human deception was over. The age of galactic unity had begun. And in the void between galaxies, ancient hungers sensed that their next meal might not be as easy to devour as the others had been. Humanity had changed the rules of the game. Now they would teach the galaxy how to play it.